Welcome everyone. Welcome to Unlocked Truths. This is a new podcast. I am the face behind the podcast and the brand. My brand is the Locs Lab. I am Diamond Cotton. I am the master loctician behind that brand, which catapulted me into this podcast called Unlocked Truths. Now, what is Unlocked Truths? Unlocked Truths is where culture, entrepreneurship, and real life meet. So during this podcast, you'll get to know a little bit about me, my journey to entrepreneurship, a little bit about my brand, who I am. I'm a mom. I have a 3-year-old little boy. I'm a wife, and I enjoy life. I enjoy what I do, and I have a passion for doing locks. The name of today's episode is I Didn't Choose Entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship chose me. And on this episode, I'll dive a little bit into how I arrived at full-blown entrepreneurship, segueing job loss. I lost my job about 2 to 3 months ago. So in September, it was really a major shift in my life. And so we're going to dive a little bit into that and talk about how I navigated those pathways and how I navigated arriving at entrepreneurship, which is something that I never saw for myself. Like, anybody would be like, you should really do hair full time. And I'm like, no, that's not for me. And so we'll talk a little bit about like how I arrived, what made me decide to just go full-blown entrepreneurship, the moment that it happened, and the shift that drove me to that point. And we'll talk about, like what job loss looks like in the economy that we're in, how it feels, the level of vulnerability that it takes. This is actually my first time ever announcing out loud, or even probably hearing myself say that I lost my job. It sounds really weird, but you'll get to know me, who I am, my brand. So who am I? My name is Diamond Cotton. Before entrepreneurship, before the Locs Lab, or me just being or doing locks, period, I was a young girl that had a love for radio, broadcast, communications, and so I studied that. In high school, I started at a radio station, Ep.1, on WOL 1450 AM, just doing like a talk show, hosting a talk show, hosting guests, and then eventually I went to Hampton and majored in broadcast journalism, and then ended up getting my degree there. And then after graduating from Hampton, I ended up getting a job at the #1 radio station in the country. And I was there for 8 years up until I lost my job recently in September. But I've always loved radio, love producing sound, love working with sound, period. What catapulted me into locks, I've always done locks. I've always done family members, friends, anybody, because I started locks when I was like, 13 turning 14. And I'm 31, turning 32. And so people will be like, who did your locks? Oh, I love your locks. And at one point I was going to a loctician, but eventually I started taking over and doing my own hair because I ended up going away to college. And so sometimes my schedule just didn't permit me always coming home when I needed an actual retwist. In 2020, we came home for COVID, and I needed some extra money in my pocket. And I was like, my mom said it, my husband said it, everybody was like, you should just do locks, offer your services. And I'm like, dang, what could I do to make some more money? Like, just do locks. So I ended up starting an Instagram page and just started pushing, hey, offering locks. I feel like I'm a walking billboard for my business. A lot of people see my hair or have seen my hair in high school, and I'm like, yeah, most of the time when I was getting my hair done, I was doing it. And so people started like booking, coming. I couldn't believe it, how fast it kicked off, right? I was like, oh my God, I was making so much money in the pandemic. It was crazy. I never thought it was going to jump off the way that it did. So fast forward to now, I'm in business for 5 years this year as of July. And I'll say, as I was approaching my 5th year anniversary, I'll be like something, but it wasn't something. It was God. God was like, take your business serious. And I'm like, what? No. Like, every time somebody would tell me you should do entrepreneurship full time, I'm like, no, because I like getting my check that is guaranteed to me every 2 weeks. I don't want to be out here hustling and bustling to make ends meet. Like, that's not for your girl. That's not for me. So I'm like, take my business serious. God, like, yeah. I'm like, I'm taking my business serious. Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm doing all that I need to do to take it serious. But the truth was, I really wasn't. I was burnt out from being at that job, being overworked and underpaid. So it took away a lot of my time from my availability to do hair. The government, a lot of people were back at work. And so now me doing hair in between time and on the weekday wasn't a thing anymore because people needed weekend availability, which by the time the weekend came, from being at home with my son 24/7, working, trying to fit in hair, I was tired. Going back and forth to the station. I was so exhausted mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally. I just was exhausted, just tired. And so I'm like, all right, what can I do to take my business serious, God, since you want me to take my business serious? So he like, throw away all your stuff and buy everything new. I'm like, what? With what money? So I'm like, with what money? You want me to throw away everything? Like, yeah, get a new chair, get a new clips, just revamp everything. Y'all, I threw everything in the trash. I mean, everything in the trash. I threw everything away. I bought a new chair. I bought a chair specifically for stylists. Bought new clips, bought combs. Like, I stocked up on everything. Gel, hair, everything you could think of. I bought new everything. So I'm like, okay, that's weird. Like, all right. So then I'm like, I need to start taking my social media content seriously. So I ended up having somebody that was a client, a friend of mine at the time, doing my content. And I'm like, okay, I really need to take this seriously. Like, I want to start growing my business. I'm coming up on my 5th year anniversary. Like, I want to get my product out there because I sell a organic growth oil. Like, I want to revamp. I want everything new, just brand new, so that I can really pour into my business, because that's what's really been pouring into me and keeping me afloat, even with a job. Because I mentioned, I was underpaid. I wasn't even making $50,000 at that job. Okay? So this kept me afloat. Like, I got a house, I got a mortgage, I got kids. It kept me afloat. So I'm like, okay. Then God was like, I got one thing that I like to do for myself, which is get my nails done. I'm not, I do my own, everything, service as far as me being a girly girl was free. My mom's a makeup artist. I do my own hair. The only thing that I really, went out and paid to get done were my nails and my toes. So I'm like, okay, I need to start saving. Something came over me, you need to be a better manager over your money. What little bit of money I have. So I'm like, dang, God, you're not cutting me no breaks. I mean, boom, 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 and this is the thing. I watched this movie called War Room. And the way that lady got in her closet and started praying about the things that she wanted to manifest in her life, I got in my closet. I got my notebook, my highlighters, I went and bought a Bible, and I started getting on my knees in my closet Lord, this is what I need you to do. This is what I want you to do. This is what I want. And sometimes when we ask God for the things that we think we want, and he starts to do things in our lives, you be like, hold up, I don't think I asked you for all of that. So God was like, all right. I'm like, God, help me be a better steward over my money. I'm trying to save. I want to buy all new things for my business like you told me to. I want to be obedient. I want to operate in a spirit of obedience. So God oh, for real? Okay, so text your nail tech and tell her you will no longer be needing her services, because that money you could be putting in the bank. Mind you, this is the one thing that I pay for myself, that I look forward to for self-care. So I'm like, dog, you killing me. So I ended up buying press-ons to still feel like I'm getting my nails done and start doing them myself. Just doing the BTR box press-ons so I can still feel like I'm getting my nails done. So I'm like, okay, cool. This is July. Right? My anniversary for my business is the 20th. So this is in July, like around the 15th, 17th-ish of the month, where I'm like gearing up to release all new things to celebrate my 5th year anniversary. Like I released the VIP packages, a digital rewards card for my clients. So every 5 stars, they get half off their visit. After the 10th star, they get a free retwist for their visit, right? So I'm like I want to do all these things. But then I hit a wall because I'm like, I don't have time. Like, I'm trying to pour into my business. I'm trying to be a mom. I'm trying to show up for myself. I'm trying to be a wife. Like, I felt overwhelmed. And then I started to feel like I started losing my passion because I'm somewhere where I'm overworked, I'm underpaid, I'm being a team player, and I feel like I'm just getting overlooked. Now, mind you, like in radio and broadcast, like, there's budgets. You know what I'm saying? If you're in radio or used to be in radio, you know that if you're not in the budget, you're getting cut. So a lot of radio jobs, a lot of people in radio have more than one hustle, more than one gig. So around that time, I ended up getting a part-time gig at my church, doing sound on Sundays. So I'm like, all right, cool. I can use that money to save and do certain things I need to do. And then the shift happened. Blew my mind. But the crazy thing is, after it happened, I felt like God was preparing me the entire time. The job loss literally was a shift, I feel like, where God was pushing me to my purpose. I'm not going to say every day is easy. I definitely struggle with, like, I remember one day I said to my mom, like, I don't even know if I should say I don't have a job anymore, like, because technically I'm employed, I just don't have a 9-to-5. And so I was like, yeah, you don't have a 9-to-5, but you making more money, you know what I mean? When I say ever since, like, that job moved out of my way, and this is what I mean by I didn't choose entrepreneurship chose me, because I was okay with treating my business like a side hustle, making the little money that I could to keep afloat, and then, you know, getting my check every 2 weeks. Literally, I have made more money without that job than I ever did in the last 5 years since I've been in business with that job. Literally, I have not missed a beat. I have not missed no food, no bills, no clothes, nothing. My family has not missed a beat. Literally, when it happened, I'm like, my life has just fallen apart. Like, that's literally, in this economy, you want to make somebody feel loved, take their job. Because that's literally all you got left at this point. When you feel like you've been somewhere for so long and you're dependent on that money, you got your bills figured out, you're budgeting based upon that income, and then it just goes away. When I'm like, where is this money going to come from? Where is it going to come from? Where am I going to get the money to pay this and pay that? And like, how? When I say since that job has been removed from my life, I have made more money. I have touched more money in the last 3 months. I have seen more clients in the last 3 months than I ever have in 5 years. I'd have never thought me asking God to increase my finances and my territory will result in him removing a job. Because it just don't make sense. But God does things that don't make sense because he knows what you need for your life better than you do. Authentically, like, even today, I'm scared, right? Like, but every day that happens, I'm like, we're doing it. We're making it. You're okay. That was in September. We're in December. And you made it. You're alive. You're breathing. You're well. You have all that you need. I've been able to purchase more of what I need than when I had the job. So when God says he's a provider, he will supply all of your needs. Ooh, I didn't think I was going to cry. I'm trying not to cry. Don't cry, Diamond. Ooh. When he says that he will supply all of your needs, it is not a lie. And when they say God's word never returns void, I have been more like, I had so much anxiety working at that job eventually. I started having panic attacks when I would have to go there. And when I say for the first time in forever, I've actually felt safe in my body. I don't deal with anxiety to the degree that I did. I don't feel overly exhausted. I'm not on edge with my kid. I'm not on edge with my partner. Like, I feel more like myself than I ever have before. And I'm thinking like, oh, it's my husband. Like, he just get on my nerves. Like, he just don't do nothing right. Oh, it's my kid. Like, oh, it's postpartum. Oh, it was that job. And what I've learned is it doesn't matter who it is, because these jobs will replace you like that. But you're not replaceable to your kids. You're not replaceable to your spouse. You're not replaceable to your family. What I've learned too about myself and self-worth is to never let nobody treat you less than what you are. Never let nobody make you feel like you don't know what you bring to the table when you do. I've learned so much about myself as far as resilience, as far as determination, being in this season that God has me in where he's literally stripped me of everything to build me back up with more than I could imagine. And I feel like when you get comfortable and you show other people you're comfortable, they let you stay right there. Literally. Because why am I giving you more if, that's where you cool with that? So if that's what you're cool with, we're going to keep on milking it till we can't milk it no more. And not to say that anybody had those intentions, because again, with radio, you deal with budgets. But I found myself in a place where there was no career development. I found myself making entry-level money when I had a master's degree. I literally went and got a master's degree while being there, and I didn't even make enough money to pay partial of the loan that I had from getting the job, from getting the master's degree. Literally could not even make a payment on the loan. That's how much money they were paying me. And I'm like, yo, I couldn't grow my family if I wanted to. It was crazy. And literally, when it got removed, so many doors opened. Like, God just been pouring blessings on me non-stop. And so what I will say as far as like what I've learned about myself is to never let anybody devalue you and treat you or make you feel less than who you are. Never stay somewhere for too long where, you're getting overlooked, right? Everybody else is climbing the ladder and you're being overlooked. And it's okay to be a team player, but never be a team player too long where you feel like people aren't really genuinely playing on your team. Because you start to get bitter, you start to lose your passion, you start to lose your drive for things. And, like at one point I'm like, dang, I got all these degrees in communications. Like, am I a failure? I'm not even using my degrees. I got all these degrees and you talking about now you want to do hair full time. And when I sat down for a minute and just reflected, I'm like, yo, you've been doing this for over half of your life. Like, I started in the field at 20. I'm 31. And this just professionally, like after getting my degree. Prior to that, all my internships, all of that, I was a teenager. I'm like, yo, if you never wanted to use those degrees again, you earned them and can't nobody take that from you. And on top of that, you did it. You did what most people want to do in their career. You did it. And so if you never want to step foot in that realm again, or you want to take a different direction, that's okay. And so as I wrap up this episode, I will leave you with this. Doors will always close. Things will be removed. Things will leave. Things will dissipate. But what's for you will always be for you and never pass you by. And just because you have a plan for your life and what you feel your life should look like doesn't mean that it's always in God's will. And when you are out of God's will or things are starting to take you out of God's will for your life, God will remove those things. And anytime God removes things, he replaces it with something 10 times better. I've had clients that had to leave my chair because my availability wasn't there in return. I've had new clients. I've been able to master new skills. I've been able to pour into my business in ways that I've never had before. And I've had people also pour into me, my family, and my business in ways that I've never seen before. If God wanted me to trust him ever in life, this is the moment of my life that he used where only he can get the glory when he places me where he wants me to be. If God, and I've always wavered in my faith, like I've struggled with worrying a lot, which has caused me to have anxiety because I worry so much. And in this moment where you would think I would be so overly anxious, I've been so at peace, knowing how to trust God, knowing what that looks like, and knowing what faith really means. And knowing that faith is the substance of things unseen, and being okay with that. And there are days where I'm like, I don't know where it's going to come from. I don't know, but I know God going to provide, and I know it's going to work it out. Now, that don't mean let God do all the work, because you're supposed faith without works is dead. But I know that I'm doing all I can, and I know that God's going to do the rest. And so I leave you with that gem today. That's the end of my episode. Follow us on Instagram at Unlocked Truths, UNLOCDTRUTHS. Click, like, and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. I send you love, light, and peace. Love you all. Have a good one.